O tēnā koutou e whakaroko mai ana ki tēnei reo, ko waiau, he uri ahau no tākau, ko kai te pahi, kā ti rua hiki hiki, kā ti hāwea, kā hapu, ko Kāi Tahu, kā ti māmoe, waitaha, ngā timutunga, kā iwi, ko pole taku ingoa.
Tēnā koutou, he uri ahau no te taitokerau, ngai tagoto no ngā puhi, engari i whānau mai ai, i tupu mai ai, ahau ki konei ki te waipaunamu, ko taku hononga ki tēnei whenua, ko aku tama, taikawa, tū mai, kiri ngā ua, te atarau, ko te rā anō taku hononga ki taku huia kei manoa, pole, ko kōmene tōku ingoa.
Kia ora, ko te atarau Cassidy tohoku ukoa, ko Kāi Tahu, te ati awa, ngā puhi me ngai takoto ku iwi. Tēnā tātou e uri tēnei o te tai pautini o Makawhio, ko Levi Fane Makawhio, Collier Robinson tōku ingoa.
He uri tēnei no tākau whenua o tākau tangata o Kāi Tahu whānui. I tupu ake tēnei kua ka mārangaranga ki te taitokerau, ki te hiku o te ika a ki muri whenua. Nā ko hoki hoki mai ki tēnei whenua taurikura o tātou, ki te whakaora, ki te whakanui i tōku Kāi Tahu taka. Ko rangi Māria te arani waia tarere tōku ingoa.
Ko Kāi Tahu waitaha kā te māmoe rapu wai oku iwi. Ko Kāti Hurapa ki Puki Taraki te hapu no te pote ahau ko Korako Edwards tōku ikoa.
Ko te upoko o tahumata te mauka, ko wairewa te roto, ko Kāti Erekehu, ko Kāti Mako ka hapu, ko Kāi Tahu, Kāti Māmoe me waitaha ka iwi, ko Aria Roretana ahau.
Tēnā koe, o tira tēnā koutou, ko puke kura te mauka, ko tākau, ko mata au, ku awa, ko te rua hiki, te hapu, no tākau ahau, he uri hoki tēnei no Kāti hāwea, no waitaha, no rapu ai, Kāti māmoe, o tira Kāi Tahu whānui, no reira tēnā rā tātou katoa. Mahika Kai is the procurement of food. So anything to do with gathering food, harvesting food, preserving food, sharing food, and caring for food, which is a big part of that role and obligation and responsibility. We're here in Wānaka, and our focus is around our tuna, the health of our tuna, of our eels, and gathering more data and information to support our fight and having the health of tuna recognised and prioritised within our territory by the community, by the government. We're really just starting our journey to reconnect to our places that we've been excluded from for a long time and addressing some of those issues around the decline of our species, wider biodiversity, but in this case in particular, the decline of our tuna populations. The biggest impact that's facing our tuna now is the hydroelectric dams. They just completely cut off those migration pathways and the fish passage for those species. Not only just tuna, but there's other native fish as well. The younger eels can no longer climb up into the habitat further north of those dams. Any of the adults who are ready to breed and head out to the ocean, as soon as they pass through those turbines, they get turned into mints. Other parts of the world, they use hydroelectric dams that enable the passage of fish. Makarore River has its own saying amongst our people, kukore pōkai namu he tātai tuna, which means it's not a swarm of sandflies, it's a swarm of eels. Tuna, eels, a number of other fish, kanakana, the lamprey, They are the descendants of a giant eel called Tuna Roa or Tuna Nui Te Rangi. And that tuna lived up in the heavens. Our atua, they offer their children to us. We believe that if we do not accept their gifts and what they offer, then what we're telling the environment is that it's not good enough for us. Over time, the environment will start to withhold things from us. That practice keeps us reliant on the environment being in a good state. We don't just view tuna as food. The tuna represents freshwater ecosystems in the environment. We view ourselves as nakaitiaki, protectors, guardians of our territory. It is our responsibility to make sure that children of Tuna Roa, the children of Tangaroa, our God of the ocean and waters, that his children are being looked after, and in return he will provide his children for us to look after us in our sustenance, in our way of life. When we accept those gifts, that tuna becomes part of us. There's words that are associated with the species, ceremonies associated with the species. There are ways of thinking that are associated with the species. And if our connection to that species is lost, we actually lose parts of our identity in ourselves as a result of those things. And so the hydro dams is one of those things that is threatening our way of life. When it comes to things like restoration of a species or environment, it is that old knowledge and connection to a place, and how that place is supposed to look like, feel like, taste like, smell like, all these different things that a lot of people nowadays just have no conception of. So we are trying to bring some of that knowledge back so that we can actually make better decisions around how we restore balance to our ecosystems. Well, in this region, in Otago, we've lost over 90% of our wetlands, which means the eels have lost over 90% of their habitat. And it is really our aspiration to raise awareness around these things, to have their habitat restored, and ultimately for our people to return to living off a landscape that is thriving and healthy. Yeah, I feel extremely privileged. I know there's been many generations before me that have not had this opportunity. I feel a lot of pain for those generations, but I also feel a lot of hope for the future generations, because I will be teaching them to come back to these places, and I will be bringing my children along back to these places to partake in our life ways. Growing up, when we are taught about our identity, we often say where we come from, the mountain that we come from, the river that we come from. When we say those things, it's not just because we like that place, it's because that place feeds us, sustains us. It's a part of us, and we are a part of it.
Oh